My name is Nicole and I'm the creator of the website reefdivers.io. I created this as a place to share my passion of scuba diving and coral reefs with other divers, with snorkelers, and with anyone who's in love with the ocean. Corals are the foundation of the marine environment. They provide habitat for fish, and they're a vibrant, diverse community of animals. And often, this diversity of life gets overlooked. Coral reefs are the most biodiverse habitat underwater, and they're home to over 25% of the world's fish populations. They provide home for baby fish, for juvenile fish, and for larger fish to grow. And without coral reefs, we'll lose that abundance of fish. Not only do they provide habitat, but they do things like they buffer the coastline. So when big waves are coming onto shore, they help dissipate some of that energy. Corals often get lumped together under the term coral reef, which I feel it's far too general to just describe this diversity of life. Once you start to learn coral identification, and once you're able to recognize corals underwater, your perception of the underwater landscape evolves, and diving will never be the same way again. Unfortunately, in this moment, there are some threats to coral reefs. Climate change, in particular ocean warming, is a major threat to coral reefs. Since 2015, in the Caribbean, in Mesoamerica, we've seen warming ocean temperatures year after year. The oceans have been warm enough that it's been causing coral bleaching. Climate change, overpopulation, overfishing, coastal development, the list really goes on. Once we're able to identify these species and tease apart the diversity, we're able to recognize which species are at risk, which species are we more at risk losing first, and which species are still alive and thriving, and which ones will persist in our future. Last year, I had this crazy idea. I wanted to photograph and document every species of coral in the Caribbean. And I thought this was a doable task because there's only about 60 species in the Caribbean. So I set off on my mission and I got about 55 species photographed and identified, and I've been able to upload those photos and share them on my website, and I've created a guide to Caribbean corals. I just printed my first underwater guide, a 100% waterproof guide that you can either take on the boat or underwater so you can identify these corals in the field. And if you're just learning to identify corals, the Caribbean is a fantastic place to start because you can really become an expert. You can really learn to identify the majority of the species in just a few dives. I get excited about corals every single time that I dive. And once you start diving with the intention of looking for corals, diving will never be the same way again. Now that I'm done with Caribbean corals, it's time to move on to the Pacific. And with hundreds and hundreds of species of coral, I know I have my work cut out for me for years to come. My goal is to inspire scuba divers to see the reef with new eyes.